Today we are going to talk about some of the new features that we have with respect to margins and padding adjustment. So what we have done as part of 5.0 is, we have introduced a percentage based calculation where you typically have to just specify one value and that sort of flows in a multi-channel, cross-channel way. So what I have here is I have a form and I have looking at the padding values for this form, and here I have specified certain values which are sort of default. What this default value does is it calculates based on the screen resolution. It figures out what percentage I need to kind of add padding, and that kind of seamlessly flows through all the other applications or other channels that I'm interested in building the application for. So previous users of KonyOne, especially of 4.1, would remember that if I had to do the same thing, I would actually have different metrics. So I would have a pixel value and a percentage value. And we did notice that there were several developers who felt that the pixel percentage calculator was not calculation was not 100% accurate. So there was a lot of hand coding, and you would have to add values on a pixel by pixel or line item by line item level to make sure that the margins were appearing appropriately. So all of that is now being solved as part of KonyOne 5.0, and you can apply a default, and with one value all of the settings can also seamlessly flow through. However, in some case, if you still want to do pixels, we don't put a limitation. You can still go back to the pixel method if that's what your spec requires you to do. But for the most part, we feel that the default setting would be appropriately working for all our customers' needs. So, moving on, I want to also talk about some of the benefits that we have added to the orientation parameter. So, previous users of KonyOne would remember, say for example, when they encountered a fairly complex form like what I have here, they would notice they didn't have this percentage margin padding concept. They would typically end up, defining two values for or two forms for portrait and landscape, and that was because, say for example, you set a value of 2 pixels for percentage. The widget in portrait and landscape wouldn't necessarily always fall on the 2 pixel mark, so there was no sort of symmetric distribution based on moving from portrait to landscape. But with this percentage based layout that we have introduced as part of KonyOne 5.0, that problem just goes away, and we'll see that work seamlessly in a minute. But essentially, what happens is because of this percentage distribution, things start working and flowing smoothly. So what I'll do here very quickly is I'll just quickly run onto a simulator for an iPhone that I have, and I'll try and show you how the margins etc. work. So here I'm actually this is a native iPhone app that I have, and with one setting for the form that you just was seeing in the IDE, I can kind of show you how things are moving seamlessly. And I haven't done much. I've just changed that one setting, and those margins flow through seamlessly. And if you were to just look at SPA, the same margins work the same way here as well, and all the margins come through in a seamless manner. And if I were to move ahead and say just go to some of our Android and BlackBerry simulators, you would notice that in the case of BlackBerry, the values all come up just fine, and in the case of Android, again the values just come up just fine. So I haven't done anything but specify the default values, and these fairly complex forms, which required a lot of tinkering and fine tuning earlier on, are now readily sort of available. And this I think will enhance developer productivity enormously, and will reduce time to market for our customers.